Hi, I am Sophia Worrell, and today on day 13, it is not a bad number. It is a great day for numbers, and that is numbers that pertain to budgeting. I absolutely love this part of life. This exercise was a game changer for me. It was one that many people struggle with, and one that when I started to do was an uphill battle, which I finally was able to overcome and which interrupted negative patterns in my life. I have been setting you up for this section of the course all along. Why? Because it is another major milestone that will lift us out of poverty. Please be reminded that my intention is to break the brokenness one person at a time, one family at a time, of us of African descent. We have to stop having broken homes, broken education, and broken finances. Reading as a habit sets us up to write. It sets us up to journal. It sets us up to make a list and accomplish our daily tasks. In short, it organizes our lives and helps us to be disciplined. But as leaders, we have to change, we have to learn to manage our fears, and none is so important than the money that we receive. Personally, I would spend money as fast as it came into my hand. I had no idea how to hold onto it or even to grow it. When I came here to America, I was broken and broke, and I wanted to stop these bad habits. To maintain a residence, I had to learn to get control over my money and spending habits and not let spending habits send me down a rabbit hole. I turned to God, and God guided me in doing this exercise. I had listened to all kinds of people talking about goal setting and budgeting, and it was made so complicated. I would, and so what I'm going to do is make it as simple as possible. However, I must warn you that the execution of anything is always the hardest part. This is to, that is, you can start it, but it's about keeping at it. I can tell you how much money I spent down to the penny because I have been doing this for so many years now. So, are you ready to get started? First, you will have to get a notebook or a ledger. And what you're going to have to do is to write all of your purchases each day. Record each transaction on that sheet of paper for the next month. Then write on the other side how much money you are obtaining each week, bi-weekly or monthly. Now you're going to add up all of those transactions, and if your calculations are under what your salary is or how much you're making, then you're doing well. However, if your calculations are over what your income is, then you have a big problem. But it is not only about balancing your budget and calculating what you're spending. The purpose of budgeting is to ascertain those items of places where you're putting the bulk of your hard-earned money on. When you take that close look at where your money is going, it will help you make more informed decisions about that salary or that income that you're bringing home. I want to look again at goal setting. So hopefully while you're reading, you are becoming aware of changes you have to make. Journaling is also an eye-opener, as well as writing out your daily tasks and seeking to get those tasks completed. Once again, I have heard so many ways to goal set, and it can get very, very complicated as you read and think and write and reason and budget and reach conclusions or journal and have questions. This will help you to target what actions you need to curb and give you a good sense of what you want to improve or what you want to happen in your life. What you want to see happen or do is what is called a goal. All you have to do is write out a list of things you want to have happen in your life. Once one of those goals maybe for example to get married. You can set a time limit for the next 2 years, for instance. This would allow you to prepare yourself for the occasion, as it would take time to meet and get to know that person as they will you. You may set a goal to finally obtain a GED. Write out a time in which you will want to complete that goal. Or you may be seeking to get a job or a better job. Write out how long you think that process will take. Then cross off all that you have targeted and all that you have reached. Then celebrate at attaining those goals. Now you have some more wins under your belt. So you can make your list as great or as simple as possible. But the object is to cross off all those things that you begin to accomplish. So I want to ask, who is it that is teaching us? On many street corners and on online platforms are so-called black leaders shouting out white supremacy and screaming that black men are being treated unfairly by police officers who are actually doing their job to protect innocent citizens from the same brutal acts of people who have nothing to lose. The isolated incidents are caught on camera, and police officers are scolded for seeking to apprehend those young black men who are resisting arrest. This leads to riots where looting and other black people are seen tearing down buildings because of those black men and women crying racism, calling those confrontations injustices on black people who have been oppressed for centuries, while those same so-called black leaders are sitting safely in their gated communities. Once again, young people of African descent, no one seems to notice this or give it a thought. The police officers are either suspended or fired, and life still sucks in the ghetto. I squirm as I watch them and tune them out, as not one of these men or women are telling these people to behave and act civil. None of these black men or women are teaching young black men and women how to build wealth. They never shout at these young men and tell them that they must obey the laws of the land. They never heard on street corners or on online platforms asking young men to complete their education or be faithful to the women they impregnate. You never hear them shouting at these young men to take care of the children that they have with multiple women. They do not tell those young men to behave themselves. No, you never hear this from these men and women who have so-called educated themselves and left the slums and projects and now live in safe neighborhoods. But they only show up to scream at cops who put their lives on the line every day to do their job. Not once do they ever, ever, ever scold that young man who is actually breaking the law. Never once do they scold that young man and tell him to stop the illegal activity. Not once do they hold that young man accountable for his actions. So once again, like in slave days, these men and women, they have gotten their education and they run off and they take care of themselves. They're supposed to be the older men who themselves did not have a father figure and should be telling these young men who are suffering how to be better men. But no, they abandon them again and just show up to feign interest. The black ministers must hold young men and women alike accountable and show them why marriage is a tool that unlocks success. They must stop giving handouts and help these men and women to complete schools so that they can clean up their communities. There's already no family in the home to set an example, and none of these elderly men are given an example to people of African descent who so desperately need some kind of encouragement to make strides in their lives. So this is what this course is about. I am doing a root canal of all of our issues, and I promise you that we will get through this. It is insanity that we have been doing the same thing for years and have not gotten results, and still keep listening to the same lies and then reacting without thinking. And that is why God has allowed this pandemic. It is to shake us out of our stupor so that we can take a long look and see that we need to do something completely different. Young man of African descent, this course, if you listen and follow it, is your ticket out of the distress that is producing the numbers of dysfunction that we see today, with 90% of people all over the world of African descent living in poverty or impoverished. The subject of budgeting and the previous recommendations are the start to change those numbers and allow us to showcase 90% of people of African descent living in a family unit, graduating school, and doing something significant in the world. It is happening on a small scale now, but we must have more people joining the ranks and making their mark on society by being productive. We have some work to do, and I want to remind you as we go along. This is not an easy road. If you haven't started to read the Bible, please read one chapter per day and spend some time in devotion with God. If you haven't received my book, you will see, or if you haven't, but later when you do, you will see that it is an easy road with very short stories to inspire you. Please continue to write in your journals as often as you can. Continue to make those daily lists of tasks for the next day, and get started writing on your budget, which means you have to keep your receipts so that you can know how you're spending your money. This is a 30-day course, and all of these activities will get you on the road to habits that will definitely change your life and improve your lifestyle. I did it, and I got out of that cycle and pattern, and I'm reaching back to show you how I did it. And when you get out, please do me a favor, help someone else to get out, and ignore anyone who relishes in your staying in that kind of dysfunction that is not serving you or your family to come. Why? Because there are many of us of African descent that are now being stereotyped with those who act barbaric and unintelligent. Their thought-like behavior is not what we want represented of our culture anymore. That is not God's way. That is not the American way. And it is time to build a culture that is peaceful, loving, and kind. Thank you.